Hey, good Sunday evening, folks. I thought I'd do the progress video on my Monogram 1985 Mustang SVO, and we got it all apart. So let's get started with all the goods. So let's start with the body here. You can see that it's nicely weathered and definitely well used and has a lot of history. The whole idea behind this build was I wanted to do a sporty type car that would be, that needed a lot of TLC, and it's a father and son project. The father bought his 16-year-old son his first car, and they were going to get it fixed up for him. So I thought this would be appropriate. So I painted the body in Krylon gloss red pepper. It's actually the same red that I used on my MPC 1983 Toyota Celica build. It's a really nice sporty red. I'm actually going to be using that red. I've used it several times. I'm actually going to be using it on a I built a couple of them. The Lindbergh 1/20th scale 93 through 98 Jeep Grand Cherokee. I'm going to do one in that familiar red with the gray paneling on the bottom. Yeah, so I'll be using that same red when I do that. But anyway, so yeah, the body has been through, it's been through a lot. You can see I did some nice weathering detail in the engine bay there. Let me flip that around there. Okay, so you can see on the left side there, you got your shock towers, and then there's your battery. Not too sure what that box is right there. That's a reservoir. I'm guessing that's your washer reservoir. And of course, there's your coolant reservoir. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with how the weathering came out on this. You can see some isolated rust spots right there on the front, right above the radiator, where the radiator would be, I meant. You can see I did some rust spots here. This is an example of where they sanded off the bottom of the door, and they got some more work to do to it, and they will eventually repaint it in the factory color. You can see I went ahead and went through my parts, my decal box, and put some sponsor decals in the windows. Thought that would be a nice touch. I even put one in the back there that it's a Champion one. It broke on me, but I figured, hey, it's appropriate because it's a used vehicle, and things fall apart all the time. On the other side, I wanted to show off the fender. So the idea with the fender, the front of the fender here, was they sanded it out and fixed any dents, and then they primered it, and they're going to repaint it. Same story as the passenger door there. So yeah, that's how the body came out. I did the I guess that's the louvers right there. You can see the taillights and the decals on, the badge decals there, and the Ford decal. The rear bumper's nice and dirty. This thing needs a lot of TLC. All right, so that's the body. Okay, now let's do the motor. Motor's the turbocharged 4-cylinder. Very detailed for what it is. I did add a lot of weathering. You can see the rust on the exhaust manifold and the exhaust side of the turbo. You can see the weathering detail that I added onto the intake duct there, and the cold air intake's dirty. I really like the decals that came with this engine, especially the oil filler cap one, and the one that goes on top of the valve cover. It really stands out. You can see I really dirtied up the belts and pulleys, a little bit of wear on the top of the timing cover. And of course there's your upper and lower intake manifold, power steering pump, molded in oil filter. And all throughout you can see where it's been weathered, and I added some oil effects, oil spill right there around the oil fill cap, and maybe there was an oil leak down here and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's how the engine came out. I'm very impressed with it. Alrighty, and then here's the radiator. The radiator's nice and dirty. This one has an electric fan I think this is the first kit I've built with an electric fan. So yeah, you can see some rust development, road grime, dust, all that good stuff on there. It's very nicely used. Here's the interior. The interior is a two-tone gray. I did a flat gray for the carpeting, and of course on the dash, the door panels, and the leather parts of the seats, I used a medium gloss gray. So you can see in the very bottom, I used some dark gray craft paint. I know it's not the best job, but hey, it's on the bottom. No one's really going to see it. So I am impressed with the dash decals that came with gauge decals. They look really nice. The steering wheel, I added some flat black to give it that worn look, you know, like it's 20 plus years old, 30 years old, and it's just worn out. So there's your shift lever and your parking brake there. I'll probably do some additional weathering, you know, dirtying in here, possibly, or just leave it the way it is. Whatever I decide, really. So that's your interior. Here is your rolling chassis, as they call it. You can see I really nicely dirtied up those wheels. The wheels were, of course, chrome. I primered them and I painted them in a metallic aluminum, and then as they cured, I added additional details, and I just started weathering up the tires and the wheels. They look really good. On the underside of the chassis here, you can see I did some surface rust on the fuel tank and the exhaust. Certain areas of the floorboard there, you can see the rear axle differential has some rust buildup, and all the way up to the front here, the front axle, the lower control arms, and your tie rod with its rubber boots on there. So that's a pretty nice chassis. So yeah, I do need to, I'm probably going to rust the exhaust tips better. I think that's my plan before I finalize this. There's your rear shocks. I dirtied them up a little bit. So that's how the chassis is looking. And then also, let's show the front bumper. And you can see the headlamp assemblies. You can see that I really nicely weathered the underside. Looks just like your usual road grime. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this one. It's been very fun. Let's see what else. There's your air filter there. Then we got the upper radiator hose, and then your exhaust collector nicely rusted. So yeah, this kit is a pretty good kit. I had fun with it, but it could have, like some people say, it could be a little bit more detailed. That would have been nice, but hey, I'm not going to complain. There's worse kits out there. So yeah, now the next step is to get her buttoned up, and we'll get the slideshow video out, and I'll have that out too, and we'll go from there. Talk to you next video.